On Friday, part of his 8-day No Malarkey tour of Iowa, former Vice President Joe Biden decided to defend the Republican Party. Now, let me give you the quote here in context. This is during a speech in Iowa. He said, quote, "It's not like there's going to be some great epiphany and people are going to wake up and go, oh my God, I'm now a Democrat. And if you hear people on the rope line saying, I'm a Republican, I say, stay a Republican. Vote for me, but stay a Republican because we need a Republican Party." So, well, that's kind of interesting coming from a Democrat. Oh, we need the Republican Party. Vote for me, but we need the Republicans. Now, why do we need the Republicans? Well, he said later on that he was concerned about what would happen if the Republican Party were in the elections totally clobbered. Quote, "I'm really worried that no party should have too much power. You need a countervailing force." Well, yeah, I mean, you should know about that, right? Because when he was vice president, we had a Republican Party that was a countervailing force, and literally nothing got done. Well, then. So now he also said on the Republicans post Trump, quote, "Nothing's going to snap back. We're in a totally different world. But the Republican Party will deal with serious consequences for electing Trump." So, what consequences? I mean, look, if you're to believe Joe Biden, then, well, Joe Biden would still want a lot of these Republicans to not quit the party and vote for Democrats or to switch over, but to still vote for Republicans even though they vote for him. That's interesting. And as far as Republican politicians, well, again, these politicians protect and enable Trump. About 99% of them. There's very few Republican voices right now that are congressmen, that are elected officials, that are speaking out against Donald Trump. And so these are the people that Joe Biden wants the Republican base to keep voting for. Really, it's not a good look, Joe. I mean, he's all over the place. But see, understand there's perspective here, and I figured it out. He says, Republicans, vote for me, but then make sure to remember that you're a Republican so that you vote for Republicans on the down ticket, House and Senate races. So I get to become president because I want to be president. But look at that. I'm not going to be able to do anything because I'm going to have people that are aligned against me, or therefore giving me cover to not be a progressive at all. And I know I say progressive in the context of Joe Biden, and I know you guys can't help laugh, right? Because it's so absurd. But it means he can't do anything even considered forward thinking. Make tweaks to the ACA. Couldn't do it. But it's the perfect cover because it's exactly what happened during the Obama administration. Obama campaigned like a lion. He came out there and said, look, we're going to do all these things. We got hope and change. We got the audacity of hope going on here. So we're going to do all these awesome things. And then gets into office. Can't do those things. Look at the Republicans. They're stopping me at every angle. So, looks like we can't really do anything. Can't leave Guantanamo. Got to leave it open. No, can't do a public option. No, just got to do full ACA, which is private healthcare insurance. And all we're going to do is we're just going to give them subsidies. That's it. Sorry, can't do anything else. Republicans won't let me. That's the whole thing. It's to give cover to Joe for not doing anything. Because, God forbid, we actually elect progressives that are actually able to get things done. Things that people want, like Medicare for all. But Joe doesn't want to live in that world. Joe's like, no. We want gridlock. Look, he wants to keep government divided so that we do nothing beneficial to regular people. Now, they do things that are beneficial to the donors, to corporations. Deregulation of industry is one of them. Both parties seem to love that. And it seems to be the only things that they seem to agree on is to help corporations and the wealthy. Weird. But again, here's the thing. Biden makes a mistake that a lot of centrists make. They point at Trump as the actual dysfunction. And they point to a time before Trump as a time where we actually had civility, when everything worked better. No. In reality, civility hasn't existed for a very long time. Certainly not during the Obama era, which, again, Biden should know that, because unless he was asleep the whole time, he was vice president. But yet the Republicans, they said, Obama, born in Kenya, the now president of the United States, Donald Trump, spread that very conspiracy. They called the First Lady, Michelle Obama, a monkey. They called Democratic politicians treasonous baby killers, communists, fascists, made allusions to the global elite. And Republicans in Congress, when they're not echoing this ridiculousness, you have people like Ted Cruz with their Agenda 21 nonsense, whatever Louis Gohmert talks about, because half the time you don't even understand him. They were making sure that nothing Obama and the Democrats had passed ever made it through the Senate, no matter how sensible or bipartisan it was, unless it helped the wealthy. Look at Merrick Garland, for example. Merrick Garland, the most milquetoast, inoffensive pick for the Supreme Court. You know what they did? They blocked him for a year. And then they stole the Supreme Court seat. Marco Rubio. Remember when there was this whole big push, I think it was back in 2014, for a bipartisan immigration reform bill. Marco Rubio had something that was, I guess, a decent plan for Republicans, right? Tanked his own bill rather than have the Democrats, because Democrats were like, hey, list something, right? We'll support that. That sounds great. Rubio spiked his own bill. You know why? Because they didn't care about it passing at all. His own legislation. And they've done that several times. And I'm not just talking, it's procedural, and that's why Mitch McConnell voted against his own bill, because it's procedural, so they can bring it back later on. No. This had an excellent chance of passing the Senate and getting signed into law by Barack Obama. That's why the Republicans, including the very person who drafted the bill, were in a panic. No, I can't do it. Marco Rubio spiked the bill. That's what they do. So Republicans have shown they are not good faith actors. The fever will not break. You remember when Obama said that, after the midterms, again, back in 2014, the Republicans, once we beat them, the fever will break. And they'll be more than willing to work with us. No, never happened. And Joe Biden is saying the same garbage. Don't worry, Republicans, they'd love to work with me. Just like I worked with Strom Thurmond, a segregationist. I mean, we can all work together. He actually touts that. Oh, yeah, of course I work with Strom Thurmond. Oh, yeah, I'll work with segregationists, racists, everything. Not a problem. Love to. That's literally what he considers to be wonderful and bipartisan. Jesus. No, the Republican Party, by the way, they are not, and this is why we shouldn't work with them. They're no longer the party of the conservative point of view. They're basically the party of corporations, greed, corruption, and political nihilism. You cannot work with that party that won't work with you. That, again, the Republicans would rather spike their own legislation, stop their own nominees, stop everything in order to prevent Democrats from signing on to a piece of legislation and getting some sort of win. I mean, the only thing that you can do with the Republican Party as it stands now is to utterly and thoroughly crush it so hard that they're forced to start over again. And this time, put reasonable conservatives in charge. And we know that won't happen. We know that we will get no change because Joe Biden has said it himself, that we will get nothing that will fundamentally change. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality. which is where you guys come in. See, we have a Patreon, patreon.com/TYTNation, set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.